It's a cold winter evening, and a small group of pacifists have gathered in the Parisian suburb of Les Ulis.
Given the sacrifices of Palestinian and Israeli civilians, we must have an immediate and lasting ceasefire.
Attending the weekly vigil is 95-year-old Marie-France. She and her family were part of the resistance fighting Nazis. She witnessed first-hand violence on French soil and hopes it never returns.
There's a need for tolerance. You need to get along with people who aren't 100% in agreement with you, but with whom you share an ideal of solidarity.
They all believe in the need to prevent tensions from spilling over to France.
Here in France, some say there's no difference between Hamas and Palestinians, and no difference between French Jews and the Netanyahu government. We, on the other hand, want to see a new kind of society where dialogue is possible and hate isn't stirred up on both sides.
Dia struggles sometimes to get her message across to the young generations. She's organized a workshop in a nearby community center. Everyone here has an opinion.
Absolutely nothing can justify the massacres and war crimes currently taking place. Hamas is committing horrible acts, but it's a terrorist group. The Israeli army, however, is supposed to be the army of a state that belongs to the United Nations.
You can surely understand Israel's retaliation after what happened with that atrocious attack. The thousands of Israelis targeted and many civilians massacred by Hamas on October 7th. It really shook me. But what really infuriates me is to see Israel indiscriminately bombing Gaza. It's no solution.
These youths follow closely the news, mostly on social media.
Look at how fast information flows without any checks on social media, especially on Twitter or X as it's known since Elon Musk bought it. There's less and less control regarding sources, and it's a catalyst for what is most violent and bad.
NGO SOS Racisme monitors hate speech online. A difficult task given their limited resources and the many platforms.
Racists and anti-Semitic groups are all over social media. Yes, that's her.
That's an influencer who posted a video on the October 7th massacre when she joked about Israeli babies being eaten with salt and baked in ovens.
Their team of 5 people reports those inciting hatred and violence for prosecution.
We notice more racist comments made in traditional media, and it triggers more reaction. It's an increasing trend. Nearly every day, we are told or see cases of hate speech.
The NGO accuses social media platforms of doing little to tackle hate speech. It's asking for help with extremism on the rise.
Si à chaque fois qu'il y a un conflit entre Israéliens et Palestiniens,
If there's a surge in anti-Semitism, as well as hatred towards Muslims or Arabs every time that there's a conflict between Israelis and Palestinians, it's because existing problems in our country are being reignited.
Des choses qui sont présentes dans notre pays.
France has recorded a sharp rise in anti-Semitic acts since October 7th, with hateful messages graffitied on buildings and graves defaced. Alain Rosinquier is a Franco-Israeli sociologist and long-time peace activist, a Parisian who lived 15 years in a kibbutz. One of his cousins survived the Hamas attack.
He hid in his safe room for some 20 hours while fighting was taking place all around him. Residents in his kibbutz were massacred, others kidnapped.
He dreams of one day seeing Israel live peacefully alongside a Palestinian state, though it seems far from reach right now. He was recently shocked as he was walking back home in Paris.
Photos of the Israeli hostages had been ripped off the wall. It's unbelievable. 5,000 kilometers away. People should just take a step back. There's no need to be caught up and impassioned like those on the ground, there face to face.
Some of his Jewish friends hide their religion in fear for their safety. He says there's a before and an after October 7th.
The situation has created a feeling of isolation and solitude for some of the Jews in France, who thought they were fully accepted and integrated once and for all. But in fact, it's now questioned again.
Mass demonstrations have been taking place across France over the war in Gaza. Frustrated at the lack of unity in the country, a group of artists organized a silent one in Paris. It called for an immediate ceasefire and to not take sides. A march that attracted only a few thousand people.